This week I thought I'd look at one of the more common elements in Friendship is Magic. Zip lines. No, not that. These little lines and puff of dust when a character zips out of frame. Like here, 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 any of these. You get the idea. What makes Flash so useful as an animation tool is its ability to reuse and repurpose assets. Once a piece of artwork is in symbol form, you can have a practically infinite number of copies to manipulate as you wish. Chunks of animation, like a blink or a walk, can also be reused and free you up to focus your energy on other things, like, say, awesome facial expressions. It's the main reason the show can afford to have so many background ponies running around, making it feel like a real lived-in world, as well as giving fanfic writers plenty of shipping supplies. The zip lines also help maintain the show's fast pacing. It's a huge waste of time to properly walk characters in and out of frame if you don't have to. In just this one episode, I counted 30 uses of this effect, and other episodes aren't much different, not to mention other, more subtle uses of motion blur lines. Even though they're each colored to match the pony they're attached to, it's just the same zip each time. Which makes sense. If you're going to use an effect literally hundreds of times, you better find a way to make it reusable. And if you look real close, it appears to have the texture of actual paint. I don't know if that's how they did it, but it's how I'm going to do it. So with some cheap paint, a couple of brushes, and enough construction paper to stock an illegal daycare, I went and painted out a few pages of straight and curved lines. I scanned these sheets in really big in order to pull a better alpha channel and shrunk them down some later. Since we're not using vectors, it's best to stay large enough that we won't have to scale it up any later. I just used the color range tool in Photoshop and saved the selection as an alpha channel. I cropped out a few that I liked into individual pieces and saved them with their alpha channel as targa files. Jumping over to Flash, I imported all my files and converted them to symbols so I can start building with all the pieces. These zips go by really fast, only 6 frames, so it shouldn't take long to build this up one frame at a time. I built it up over 6 layers, so we'll have room for 6 different colors if we need them. That'll make it Rainbow Dash compatible. Once the curls are gone, there's really no rhyme or reason to how I'm placing these, as long as the line gets thinner and moves forward a bit on each successive frame. The trick is to make each layer into its own symbol. Now I can use the tint option to color each layer however I want. This looks pretty good, though it's a little grittier than the one in the show. Even if this is how they made their version, I can guarantee they spent more than $3 on art supplies. Now for the dust, which lingers a bit longer, extending the entire clip to 15 frames. I built 4 different bits of dust, which should be enough for what we need. After the initial burst, the pieces shrink and drift outward and occasionally break up into smaller pieces. Just delete the big piece and replace it with a few smaller ones. You have a lot of leeway when things go by this fast. Rather than set up motion tweens for all these various bits, we can just go frame by frame and use the scale and rotate tool to scale and rotate the pieces quickly and uniformly until we eventually delete them off the screen. Once our animation is done and it's all on its own symbol, we'll tone down the alpha sum and add a simple fade to make it feel more dust-ish. This is also able to be tinted, though we'll be a bit less bold with it. So now that we've got a completed zip in our library, let's see it in action. So I borrowed a few images off the MLP Vector Club so we can have something to motivate these lines. No real animation, just a quick zip out of frame. Then we can drag out copies of our zip from our library, duplicate the symbol to make it a unique copy, and make whatever changes we need. Recolor it, move it around, scale, skew, rotate, whatever we need. There, an easy, reusable effect we can repurpose as much as we want. Now if only I had a way to end this video.